And then it was 4. And then by the time we started the school, we had, we didn't know. We were in an industrial complex. They were tearing down the Ford plant that was at one time the largest under-roof plant in the world. They were tearing it down across the street from where we were going to start the school. And people were leaving, and no one has any money, and look, heard it all, saw it all. I stood in a parking lot with a priest and said, I will not pray for your school. And I said, well, Father, I'm going to make it just for you. By the way, our school last May beat their school to win the Catholic League Championship in soccer. And God has a sense of humor, doesn't he? I mean, seriously. God is so, he is so astounding to me, and I have learned so much, and I love him so much that if he told me, move to Korea and start a Catholic school, please don't, Lord, but I would. And the other thing that's necessary for that to happen is you need to have people in your life that would support you if you chose to do that. And there's been so many life lessons being a part of something that's new. By the way, we're in the new springtime of the church, right? We're not in the church that's the old church that's falling down and people are leaving. We've already crossed that. Pope John Paul II spent 27 years telling people we're going into the new time, right? Full of grace. And what does that look like? You know what it looks like to me? It looks like you guys. That's what it looks like. And you know what this community needs more than anything? It needs a strong Catholic identity. It needs people who say, you know what? I'm sending my kid to that school where they're in the basement today, but I'm going to get on a committee and we're going to figure out how to buy this old building and we're going to transform it and we're going to put a gym in. And you know why we're going to do this? Because this is what we're supposed to do. I have never met a Catholic that I could look at and say, hey, you know what? You're supposed to just follow. It just doesn't work that way for Catholics. We started this school in an industrial building in the worst economy since the Great Depression, and the church didn't want us to make it. But we believed that we could make it. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't believe you can make it, you can't. You can't. You absolutely can't. If you don't believe that you can make it, you can't. But if you believe that you can and you trust in the power of Jesus, what he can do is so astoundingly amazing that someone's going to invite you to drive 5 hours to tell them about your story 10 years from now. Yeah, I said to my wife, I said, listen, my wife is amazing. We have 7 children, and she was the valedictorian at her all-girl Catholic dominant high school. And then she played basketball at U of M, and all, accolade after accolade. Then she marries this short guy. My wife's 6 feet tall, and she marries this short guy. Went to a small school, small college, and no one, and her dad, my wife's dad's 6'4". And so every time I had an idea, he would look down at me like, why did she marry the linebacker from the football team or the whatever? But my wife, and Ed will attest to this, is an amazing person. She is a better person than I am. And she wasn't blessed with the gift to go out and start something. She does not have an entrepreneurial spirit, but she supports everything that I do. And the devil has tried everything you can imagine to destroy that in my home. We gave everything, every penny, every hour, energy that we didn't have. Because because we believed. We believed. We believed, and we believed that if one kid got that education, that kid might be the one that changes it all in the community. And what we found is we kept moving forward and progressing and falling and getting up and falling, was that it was easier to get up because the second time I fell, somebody helped me up. And the third time I fell, 2 people helped me up. And when I knew I was going to fall again, there was someone that said, don't do that. You're going to fall again. And that's what a community really is. It was so cool. I got to talk to these 2 beautiful young women, your pioneers in the school, part of your original 10. And I said to them, you know, it's really you. It's not about us, it's about you. You are this marvelous tapestry that's part of this incredible community that God wants to weave in northern Michigan that becomes a light for the community of Charlevoix and Sheboygan and Onaway. But if you don't weave it, it can't happen. And so I asked them, I said, are you willing to be pioneers? Are you willing to be that light, to take that torch and to run with it? And I think initially, in talking with them, I was like, my mom kind of wanted me to be here. But I think as we talked, and we started to hear about their experience a little bit, Ed and I, and we're hearing things that we've already heard, right? They started to get charged up about it. And they realized, you know what, if we don't go and start a student council, there isn't going to be one. And if we don't go to the community soup kitchen as a group, it's not going to happen. And if we don't ask to pray a rosary for life once a week, or start a Gianna Molina Society in the school, there won't be one. And you know what? If you don't stand up and support this, it cannot happen. It cannot happen. Because I was a very wealthy person, and even after I had given everything I had, more was demanded. More was demanded. And that was the lesson I think that I learned was, look, it takes a whole community to build a church community. And so I just want to encourage you. I want to pray with you and for you that you would know the power of God is with you and that this community belongs to Him. And these kids, they're His kids. They're ours for a little while to love and to raise, but He has a plan and He has given each child a gift set that needs to be developed and strengthened so that they can go out into a world that hates His Son and convert that world. And I got to be honest with you, that's not going to happen in the public school. They don't teach virtue development. They don't pray. They don't encourage unity. This is the foundation of our faith, what we believe as Catholic Christians. You believe it as Catholic Christians. You wouldn't be here tonight if that seed wasn't sown in you. And I just want to tell you the joy of being part of something that now everybody's standing back and going, look at that. It's great. But knowing that God was served in some small way through my life and my wife's life and our children's lives is what made it all worthwhile for me. And so I would just tell you, He's with you. He's with us. In fact, He's never not with us. The priest that did support us was 76 years old when we started the project. He's 86 now. And he says Mass every day for those kids. And the reason he says Mass every day for those kids is because he had such a magnanimous conversion in his own heart and his own life. And he has a love for the Eucharist today that is so profound that you would have thought he was always like that. You know, like Father Matt probably is today as a young buck in the priesthood. This guy was at the end of the road and everyone was writing him off in his own community. And now his whole community doesn't know what to do with this guy because he won't die. Let that happen. this community. Be a part of it. It's an amazing journey, right? God's plans are not our plans. His ways are not our ways. But I assure you that if you put your hand out and you say, walk with me, Lord, help me make a difference in this community, Lord, He's going to take you by the hand. And you know where He's going to walk you to? He's going to walk you to that little purple awning in the back of that building, and He's going to say, this is where I need you to be right now. This is where I need you to be right now. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're the only kid in your neighborhood that's going to be there. This is where I need you to be. And let's build something here that glorifies God, prepares our kids to go out into a world that one day others will look at them and say, how did this happen to you? Right? We had one student in our class, she had a dream of being a doctor. Her dad was a proud guy, so him and I understood him. We got along. You know, he's like, my daughter's going to be a doctor. Her aunt's a doctor. I said, okay. He goes, we're rolling the dice coming here, but we believe. His daughter was one of 3,400 kids that applied for 15 advanced spots in Wayne State's medical school. So you come out of high school and you start medical school. You don't go to undergrad and then on. And the reason that she was accepted, one of the 15, was because she went to that little school with the pioneering spirit that believed that it could be done. And that she was a part of making that happen. And they stood up at her interview and they applauded this kid. That kid went back, and on the graduation, she stood up in front of everybody, and she told that story. And she said, I am proof that it was not a waste of anybody's time. And I'm going to make a difference, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to support this school. That's a God. And God is here in this room. He manifests Himself to us in a powerful way. And let's just let Him work through us in this community. It can be done. It's being done all over the world. And it can be done here. And so thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. But thank you for loving the Lord. And thank you for being open to Him working in your life. He wants to do amazing things through you and with you in this community. And that young guy right there, stand up. Stand up. How old are you?
13.
He might be the next Catholic president of the United States. Okay? But if we stop baking that bread at 13, the likelihood of him being a Catholic president when he becomes president probably goes down about 90%. Let's get this kid on a path that's going to change the world. And let's believe that just him, it's worth doing it for him. Because if it's worth doing it for him, it's worth doing it for everyone, and that's what needs to happen. And that can happen. It can happen. So God bless you. Thank you for letting Ed and I come up here. We get tomorrow to spend some time with the school folks, and we're really excited to be a part of this. And we believe, just so you know, we believe. We believe in you. We believe that this is already being done, that God's will is already being manifested in this community. And we believe that if you're here tonight, He has a plan for you in this. And just want to encourage you to trust Him, walk with Him, and be open. And we want to come back for the graduation party in 3 years. So.